Hey traders, welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Monday, November 30th. It's the last day of the month, so welcome back for another daily market recap. And before we jump into today's video, make sure to like and subscribe and tick the bell to be notified on any future updates. I'd appreciate that very much. A like could go a long way. So in today's video, we're going to discuss the S&P 500 having a record monthly close, and we'll continue to watch Bitcoin over the next few hours as it finishes its monthly close to see whether or not it can set a record. But as of right now, at the time of this video, it's looking very likely that that's going to happen. So first on the list, we'll go over some news and events. I posted a video earlier today on HEXO and the huge move that we saw in that stock and the cannabis space. So I'll do a little bit of a MJ sector review here at the end as well. But I do want to go through this a little bit faster today. I also have a couple more videos that I want to get out as well, a couple product review videos on the new Canopy Growth drinks and the HEXO Corp drinks. So we'll move right through. So we saw that Congress returns facing government shutdown deadline and calls for stimulus aid as cases surge across the country and the globe. Arizona certifies election win for Biden over Trump. So that came in just toward the tail end of the day. Zoom shares drop as the company beats expectations but doesn't blow them away. So as we know, with companies with, this just came in, but as we know with companies that run huge into earnings, they need to absolutely crush. And with it already seeing 329% in revenue growth in the quarter ahead, representing a slight slowdown compared to the previous quarters. So let's see, 99 cents per share adjusted versus 76 cents per share expected, and 777 million versus 694. So yeah, not a huge beat, and that's probably why it's dropping, is because it's around hundreds of percent, and people were expecting more from the screen sharing later. We also saw that weekly jobless claim counts are inaccurate and the unemployed are being underpaid, Watchdog says. The Labor Department has submitted inaccurate counts of weekly unemployment claims according to the Government Accountability Office. Backlogs and filings have been resulted in undercounts, while repeat counting of filers has resulted in overcounts. The GAO also warned that looming expiration of the benefits, saying it could send households below the poverty line. So that was a very bearish article. First mass air shipment of Pfizer's cure arrives as airlines prepare for more. So United's first flight carrier, Pfizer's cures, arrived in Chicago on Friday. Pfizer and its partner BioNTech earlier this month said their cure was 95% effective in their trials. October pending home sales fell unexpectedly as high prices take their toll on buyers. We also saw that Salesforce deal to buy Slack Technologies is expected to be announced tomorrow after the market close. And we saw that Nikola's shares were down very big today as GM cancels the deal to build the electric hydrogen pickup truck after many controversies. DoorDash seeks valuation of up to $30 billion in an IPO, nearly double what it was in June. Obviously, the global situation has accelerated that. And we saw that Bitcoin surged above 19,800, topping. See, that was not the case. It wasn't that case, the case on most exchanges, but it does look like we are right at the all-time high. And we'll bring up a chart here on Bitcoin here in just a second, but let's cruise through some charting. So you can see that SPY has an all-time high record monthly close and a very bullish candle as well. I would be a little skeptical going into next month, just as we are seeing this bearish RSI divergence on the monthly, and something similar happened back here in the 2000s. You can see here that we were trending lower on the RSI. We were setting lower highs and lower lows as the price was trending up. So we had some monthly divergence. Now that started in 96 and didn't really come into play until 2000. So we went about 4 years in that monthly RSI divergence. So let's just take a look at where we are now. So when this started diverging, it was 2018 in January. So the end of 2017, and we're about to start 2021. So we're looking at 3 years. We could potentially, if we repeat that pattern, we could potentially see another, 6 to 12 to, maybe 20 months of this. We'll see. But in my opinion, we also have this broadening pattern here, this megaphone pattern. So if we do look at the past resistance and support touches, it would make sense that we went down here to test this support somewhere down here around the 200 to 210 level. But again, whether or not we see that in the next 6 months, 1 month, who knows? I personally have a short in SPY and QQQ that I'm holding for the long term, and I'll continue to hold those as well until I see a reason not to. But like I said, this monthly RSI is a very big concern for me. And on the weekly, we haven't really consolidated on the weekly since all the way down here at 322. So if we do start to consolidate this week, or at some point we're watching an inside bar, so most important resistance is going to be 364.18. Most important support is going to be 354.87. So we hit a high of 363.12 and 359 was support today. So we'll keep an eye on the weekly inside bar bull break or bear break. That'll give us some direction on whether or not we can see continuation or whether or not we start to see consolidation on the weekly time frame. So the daily, we did have a daily higher low and bounced off EMA 12 here as well. So in order to be confident that the daily higher low is set, we need to change the hourly trend. And you can say that we did change it here. We had a low of 360.92, 360.67. Wasn't really much of a pullback, so I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't hold on the first attempt. But you can see here, we also have this uptrend line that we can be watching. So as soon as we lose this uptrend line going into tomorrow, then we can be confident that hourly consolidation is underway. And then we'll look to the low here at 360.67 and then nothing until 359.18 on the hourly. But into the end of the day, we ended with a 5-minute uptrend, could be a 5-minute bull flag here into extended hours. That's where we stand on SPY. So taking a look at QQQ on the monthly, did we have a record monthly close? I believe we did. Yes, we did. Record monthly close was 277.84, or sorry, my bad. High was 303.50. So technically, I would consider that because we opened here at 297.60 back in September. And we closed the month out here at 299.62. So that is a record monthly close as well. But keep in mind that we don't really have any monthly higher lows here. We have a mini one here. We had a low of 264.63 and then 260.11. Not really much of a support there. So if we do potentially set a double top here, there could be a nasty pullback based on that lack of support on the monthly. And we could be looking at anywhere from 15 to 30% of a pullback if we were to look to a potential bounce point around the EMAs. So that's where we stand on the monthly. On the weekly chart for QQQ, so again, we haven't had any weekly consolidation since back here at 267.07. So I wouldn't be surprised. 266.97, I guess, was the low. So wouldn't be having my bull blinders on. We had decreasing bull volume again. Last week was a holiday, so same on SPY, but we'll see how we go into the rest of the week. And Bitcoin, so the monthly candle close is in 2.5 hours. If we were to pull back over 28%, which I highly doubt is going to happen in 2.5 hours. I mean, it could happen and stranger things have happened, but I would say that this is going to be a monthly record close as well. Currently, I'm in a Ripple trade. So I was in Ripple and Link off the 4-hour. So we'll just go back here into the 4-hour charts. So when we had that sell-off from the double top essentially on Bitcoin, you can see here we pulled back significantly. We pulled it back about 30-some% on Link, and I entered that looking for the daily higher low, and I did the same thing with XRP, and I entered here around the lows. I think I averaged in around 56 all the way down to about 50, and then I just sold my XRP around the 63 and 64. I sold Link around $14, and then I entered Bitcoin last night on knowing that we were probably going to open bullish in the markets. There wasn't any news that would tell us otherwise. So I took a position in Bitcoin last night, set my stop. So I entered on, let me see here, I believe it was 4-hour consolidation, or we had a 4-hour inside bar. So I entered on the 4-hour inside bar, set my stop below 18,000. So we broke out of 18, we were testing that there right at 18,000 when we broke that inside bar. We broke above 18,000. I set my stop a little bit below the last higher low. So I think I set it just below 17.5K. And I sold this morning when we tested the all-time highs, expecting an all-time high test today. But knowing that we were a little extended on the daily and we were just going to expect a daily lower high as a result, and likely that the bulls probably weren't going to push to all-time highs, at least not right away, not at least with some potential daily consolidation or a higher low at the bare minimum. So I'd like to see us close the month out here with a record monthly close, which I think we'll do, and then open tomorrow up, potentially set a higher low compared to today. And then I would look to buy that higher low. And again, we'll want to see a 4-hour trend change back to the bears to be confident that the daily higher, that the daily bounce is topping out. And then once we scout that daily higher low, we'll look for a 4-hour trend change back to the bulls to be confident that the daily higher low is set. So that's where we stand. Ethereum at 606. Litecoin saw a nice jump today as well, up to $86. XRP currently at just under 65 cents. So I entered another trade on, after I exited my Bitcoin trade, we saw that we pulled back quite a bit. I didn't short that. I just had too many things going on today, but I did enter the XRP 15-minute EQ. So you can see here we had a high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, bear break, bought that bear break, looking for a bit of a fake out, set my stop under, I believe it was, I set my stop at 63.5, 63.5 cents. No, it was 62.5 cents. That's what it was. It was like 62.5 or 62.6, I believe, and still riding that position. I'm actually just going to double check that, make sure I didn't get stopped out. No, I did not. So still riding that position, up about 2 or 3%. Also just got a notification that federal government plans $100 billion in new stimulus spending as the year's deficit is set to top $381 billion. And that was from the Globe and Mail. So that just literally just came through. So Liberals plan to spend $100 billion in new stimulus spending. So that's for the Canadian government. So don't expect that to really move the markets. Sorry for getting sidetracked there, guys. Wanted to bring that up in case it was anything important to let you guys know of. But again, that's pretty much where we stand on major cryptos. ADA saw a nice pump into the weekend. So Cardano, nice move off of the lows. Again, just looking for a potential top out here on the daily and a daily lower high. But pulled back to about 11 cents. So we pulled back about 40%, and then we saw a bounce of about 50%. So congrats to the bulls. There were some huge gains to be had there. My account's at all-time highs, especially with MJ just absolutely rocketing today. So we'll just cruise through some other charts here. So taking a look at the dollar. So the dollar is getting the bounce underway, and this is why I added to my SPY and QQQ short position based on the record monthly close. I knew it was time to start looking the other way. We are now in an hourly uptrend as well on the dollar, but we'll want to see a 4-hour uptrend confirmed as the next. So we'll zoom out. We'll look to a lower high compared to 92.17 once we do top out, and then we'll look to set a higher low compared to 91.50, which is our new most important short-term support. So bulls got quite a bit of room to form that And we'll be looking, we are above EMA 12 and 26 as well on the 4 hour. It looks like they are starting a bull cross. So we'll see how much of a bounce the bulls can get going into tonight. Another thing I wanted to mention as well is the gold chart. So be on the lookout for a potential gold bounce. And I'll show you why I think that. So let me just zoom out here to the monthly. So looking at this monthly uptrend line, you can see that if we use the real candle bodies, it 1, 2, 3 touches. And so we have a monthly support line. We had that weekly descending triangle bear break. I said I didn't expect us to just go right down and test 1670 support, as that would have to, that would have to bring us down about 13% without any bounce on the weekly. So I didn't think that as a very plausible scenario. So taking a look here now, we're right on that support line, that yellow line. We do have the weekly descending triangle measure move, which brings us down to 1670, which is the last weekly support level. So it's very possible that we could end up there, but what I would anticipate is a lower high, maybe potentially back test this neckline. So maybe we bounced before the end of the week, maybe we bounce next week. I'm not 100% sure. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but just looking at the most probable scenario, I would expect a lower high and then potentially a weekly trend change and a downtrend confirmed into 1670 support. But right now, I'm expecting a bounce in gold. Maybe we see some profits leave Bitcoin and go into gold. Maybe we see de-risking. Maybe we see people going risk off, and we see more money flock back from stocks that are, on a huge euphoric move and run to the upside. So maybe we start to see some money shift there going back into gold as well. But you can see here we had a tiny daily bear flag, and now we are testing that support, long-term monthly support line. So we'll see if that could hold. And we did have essentially an inside bar, double inside bar that broke bear, had a little bit of a fake out there, but essentially ended up being a daily bear flag. So again, I wouldn't expect us to go right down to 1670 support. I would at least expect a daily lower high compared to the lows here and this support level. So we'll see. We just approached daily oversold as well for the first time since March. So since the lows, so that's very notable. It's time to start looking the other way. Could we go lower? Absolutely. But I'm starting to look the other way for a potential bounce now. Taking a look at the 4 hour. 4 hour, you can see that we are forming a little bit of bullish divergence. So we are breaking the lower lows in the price action, but we're holding lower. We've got some higher low and higher high here essentially on the RSI. So you can see we're trending up, but price is trending down. We also have EMA 12 and 26 to battle there. So that's going to be a potential resistance point, but we could be looking out as well for a potential 4 hour inverse head and shoulders. Taking a look at silver on the weekly. So we've been monitoring this descending triangle as well, similar to gold. It is holding 2166 support and this neckline so far. We did dip below it, but ultimately held that 2166. So overall looking good on silver, definitely holding better than the gold chart at the moment. But keep in mind, gold has also run a lot harder over the last year or so. So that's where we stand on gold and silver. So we'll take a look at some individual stocks. I just want to see if there's anything else that that was worth mentioning today. IWM is down over 1.8%. We'll just go through it here. So IWM, we'll just take a look at the monthly charts for the sake of time. So we did have an all-time high monthly record close there as well. And now's the time, guys, to start looking the other way, because eventually we're going to get to a point where everybody is bought in, everybody has gone bullish, every bear has been turned into a bull, and eventually we're going to reach a tipping point where there's just no one left to buy. And as you can see, we're outside of the monthly Bollinger Bands. It's the case with SPY and QQQ as well. Outside of the monthly Bollinger Bands. So again, this could potentially see some more legs up, but it's not going to last forever, and you need to start preparing a game plan for what you're going to do. In my opinion, stop losses are absolutely a must. NASDAQ didn't close at a record, so that is lagging there. SMH, the semiconductors, all-time high, monthly record close, up over 1% today. 10, the solar sector ETF, just blasting. We had a, looks like that's not the highest close ever, but not sure what happened there. I don't really have the history back on in there, but that is the highest monthly close we've had since all the way back here in 2011. So that's notable. US oil. So we had a low, high, higher low, broke to a monthly higher high. We are in a monthly uptrend, but very, very far away from all-time high record close on oil. Taking a look at VIX. So monthly candle is just absolutely ugly. And we could be seeing a bear cross of EMA 12 through 26 on the monthly as well. And taking a look at the weekly. So I did draw as well. It was on the daily. You can see here we have a bit of a falling wedge forming if we use the real candle bodies. So as we know with VIX, things can spike up in a hurry. So potentially this has been playing out now for 24 days, almost 1 month in this descending or in this falling wedge pattern. So when this does break, I expect a huge move either to the downside or the upside based on how long we've been forming this this pattern and how long we've been just range bound within here. So we've been pretty much stuck between 26, 27 and the $20 range for the last month. So like I said, don't be surprised if we see a fast and huge move coming out of there. XBI, so the biotech ETF, looks like that's a record monthly close. Yes, it is. XHB, home builders ETF, also monthly record close. XLE, energy sector, not even close, and still has to change the monthly trend, so that's notable, topping out at EMA 12. So energy sector definitely a laggard and one of the weaker ones. XLF, very far away from its all-time high close on the monthly, but just looking for but we did have a low, high, higher low, and higher high. So we did change the monthly trend on XLF, the financial sector as well. XLRE, the real estate trust, nowhere near its all-time high record close. And XLV, the healthcare sector, even though we've been weaker in the healthcare sector, we did form an upper wick and we closed within the monthly Bollinger Band. But looks like that's still a record all-time high monthly close, even though we've seen quite a bit of bearish activity and performance in comparison to the rest of its peers. Taking a look at some individual stock tickers. So NKLA just smoked today, down 26, almost 27% on that GM news. We have JMIA down 12%, Suncor down 6%, NEO down 6%, Tesla down 3%. So Tesla hit an all-time high today of 607.80 and then pulled back. You can see straight into daily consolidation. First time that's happened since all the way back here at, actually, it's the first time it's happened since down here at the just above $400. So essentially anything over 396.03 is going to be a daily high or low. So we could easily pull back 25%. We also have a gap in the chart. We could easily pull back 20% on Tesla. So again, this is why you need to have a plan, because as soon as we top out, things can get ugly. And the monthly close, obviously record monthly close, but ended with a little bit of an upper wick and outside of the Bollinger Bands. Taking a look at Apple, not a monthly record close, so that is notable. And we did have a mini bear break, but essentially a monthly inside, couple of monthly inside bars to be watching as well. But again, no real monthly consolidation really. We could potentially look down to EMA 12 for any monthly consolidation, but most important monthly support is going to be 103.10 and then nothing until 53.15. But you can see that on the weekly chart, we're just in this weekly equilibrium. So high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. Could this be another lower high potentially forming here? We'll see, but it's all about the highs of 121.99, and most important short-term support is going to be 107.32. But let's see how we break out of this weekly equilibrium and tightening range. Let's take a look at the daily. So we did have huge volume today. Most volume we've seen since about a week or so, a little over a week. Taking a look at the hourly. So we are in an hourly uptrend now, just looking for an hourly higher low. And we did see some significant bear volume into the end of the day, but given the fact that we were up 2%, could just be some profit taking. We'll see how we open up. After hours, we're up about 80 cents. So that's where we stand. Taking a look at the bull list, Riot obviously up huge today, up over 35%. I remember seeing this thing at 50 cents back in March. Yep, 50 cents. I bought $2 calls, thought that was good, but up over 1,200% from the lows. It looks like bulls are in full control. How did we close out on the monthly on Riot? Not an all-time high monthly close, but huge volume. Earnings coming up on March 31st. That's nowhere near. We also had DDD up 6% today. Roku up over 6%. Work was up to 44 at one point today and pulled back. Still up over 5% though. That's where we stand. So taking a look at Canadian MJ. So the bull list, obviously Sundial is going to win the bull award here. So just taking a look at the daily chart. So when we blasted off from 13 to 60, we ran up 400%. We were just looking for a daily higher low. So we established that at 23 cents. That, in my opinion, was the entry. And I had a lot of people ask me about this today. We did have a higher low down here at 26.6 cents as well, but absolutely monster move up on the day, up 96%. Congrats to those bulls. If you did enter off the EMA support here on the daily from back on the 25th of November, you'd be up over 200%. That is absolutely ridiculous. Congrats to anybody who's still in their positions. Those are some monster gains. And we're starting to see people flock back to the marijuana sector, as we know that gains are huge when we see short squeezes and once we see hype and euphoria and media attention, you name it. Next, we had huge up over 30%. HEXO up about 30%, 29.43%. Next, we have ACB, APHA, Tilray, OGI, TGOD, CGC. So CGC, one of the weaker names today. So it looks like the tier 1 not getting as much love. Tier 2, tier 3 lower cap names seeing more of a ramp up. Sundial also on the NASDAQ, I believe. Yep. So again, this goes back to my theory of why we're seeing hundreds and 50 and 60% moves, and meanwhile Truly's up 2%. So pretty lackluster. Again, we saw some tier 2 names, tier 3 names up 10, 15%, but where do you see 96% gain in these OTC? It's just not going to happen. If you take a look at some of the Sundial traded over 1 billion shares today, over 2 billion shares today. That is absolutely insane. ACB, 126 million. HEXO, 104 million shares. That's got to be a record. That is a record, ladies and gentlemen. Congrats to the bulls. So that being said, how much did Truly trade today? $349,000 shares. So let's just take a quick look. 349,000 shares times $38. $13 million traded. I take a lot of heat from backing the Canadian LPs, but that is nothing. HEXO, 104 million. 104 million times, we'll say dollar, what did we close at? $1.10? So we'll say $1, well, we'll just say $1.05. $109 million. All right, so 2 billion shares in Sundial. At, say, an average of 70 cents. We'll even say 60 cents. That's $1.2 billion compared to the chump change that Truly's seeing. So we're seeing obviously a lack of liquidity, a lack of institutional and just, you know, big money able to enter the space. And this is exactly why I've been calling. I said Canadian names and names that are listed on higher exchanges and major exchanges like the NASDAQ, the NYSE, you name it, they're going to see the brunt of the moves. And for those of you that listen, now you're starting to understand why. Because of the dollar volume and how much is traded. Absolutely incredible. And mind you, Trulieve is making more in terms of pro forma and revenue basis. They're profitable, EPS and EBITDA. Excuse me. So again, until we start to see uplistings and Safe Banking Act, that type of thing, yes, we are breaking to new highs, but we're not seeing any major moves and dollar value like we are on the Canadian LPs on the US major exchanges. And another thing to be looking out for on Truly, we don't have a higher low on the daily from all the way down here at 32.08. So once we do top out, we'll know that we top out on the daily once we break the low of the previous candle, which we've yet to do for the last 6 days. So as soon as if we break the low of today, tomorrow, daily consolidation's underway, and we'll also want to see a loss of the hourly uptrend. If that happens, then we'll scout a daily higher low compared to 32.08. Bulls have tons of room, could drop about 15% and still be in a daily uptrend and looking for that daily higher low. We also have EMA 12 and 26 as a potential bounce point, increasing bull volume. But again, loss of the hourly uptrend and break the low of today, tomorrow, or once we break the low of the previous day, we'll be looking out for daily consolidation, and then we'll look for hourly trend changes back to the bulls to be confident that the daily higher lows are set from there. So that's pretty much where we stand. I'm not going to go into each individual ticker as I just don't have the time at the moment. And like I said, the main point that I've been trying to drive across to you guys has been the Canadian LPs seeing the most of the move and the majority of the benefit here with, you know, US decriminalization and legalization, that type of thing. We have a vote this week for the marijuana legalization bill. So we'll see if there's any development on that. But congrats to the bulls. It was an absolutely monstrous day today. Taking a look at SPY just here on the weekly, see if there's anything out of the ordinary that we can potentially look toward above the 50, 100 and 200-day daily and weekly moving average. Everything's looking extremely bullish for SPY, but again, it's time to start looking the other way and be prepared. Make sure you have a plan. That's pretty much all I have for you guys today. We do have a Head and Shoulders on Amazon that we're watching as well. I forgot to mention that. So again, I've been mentioning this for a while, but we do have a weekly Head and Shoulders formation. Looks like we did break out of that inside bar bullish, but we'll see if this neckline can hold or if we break two higher highs and invalidate that pattern. So that's pretty much where we stand. Keep an eye out for the jobless claims on Thursday. So the initial jobless claims, we also saw that we saw some potential numbers being inaccurate. So we'll see if there's any adjustments there. We also have the ADP non-farm payroll, which is the November job report out on Friday. This Friday, that was a typo. So that's this Friday, which is December 4th. So the morning of December 4th, we should expect that. So that's where we stand. It was a longer video today with it being a monthly close. I hope you found this information valuable. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and tick the bell to be notified when we go live next. We'll see you tomorrow for another daily market recap. Again, thanks for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. Have a great night, and we'll see you on the next one.